I've got too many bills.
If you need funds, you can apply in minutes at cashnetusa.com and have the money in your account as soon as the same business day.
Okay, got it. Applying now.
They've been helping hardworking people cover emergency expenses since 2004.
Hey, look, I got it.
You've got this.
When you need money fast, be the hero. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times. See cashnetusa.com for more details.
So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Who's the Bitch? I'm Kara Klang.
I'm Jackie Zabrowski, and I hope I'm not the bitch today, but I don't know because we're heading into holiday territory.
Holidays.
Oh, good.
The holidoozies.
She's already turned into it. I guess I'm a turkey host now, and yes, it will be difficult to listen to me, but think of how cute my little claws are. I'm not a turkey bitch. I guess, out the gate, I didn't even ask you this before we started recording, Kara, and I guess I was being the bitch there. How do you feel about Thanksgiving?
Listen, I like Thanksgiving just fine, but I'm not obsessed with it. I like it fine. I mean, like when I was in high school and college and stuff, I loved coming home for Thanksgiving break and eating and doing my laundry at my house and drinking with my old high school friends. And I love that whole vibe of Thanksgiving. But it's now that I'm older, it's my kids are my daughter's a picky ass eater. She doesn't eat meat. I don't eat meat. I don't know how to make a turkey. I'm not making a turkey.
No.
We don't go home because it's too, we live in LA. Our family's on the East Coast. That's too concentrated of a time to try to go home, to fly. Zero interest in doing that. And so now that I'm LA mom Thanksgiving celebrator, but I will say I do have expectations. And last year I was the bitch. Last year, my brother came into town because he was on his way to Japan and he stopped and had Thanksgiving with us. Great. I was like, let's go to a restaurant. I researched all these steakhouses.
You went to a restaurant on Thanksgiving.
For Thanksgiving.
Oh my God.
For Thanksgiving. Because I don't know how to make a turkey. So I'm like, let's go to a nice steakhouse. They'll have, if they don't have a turkey dinner, they'll have nice ass steaks with all the sides that you usually get. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm looking at all these steakhouses. I narrow it down to this one in Beverly Hills or Westwood or somewhere fancy. When we get there, they have us out by the pool. And I'm furious. I'm furious. I'm I wanted an indoor dark steakhouse where it felt homey, fallish. I don't want to be outside at a pool listening to light techno music.
No, you want the old Hollywood of is Sinatra going to backhand the wife? Or,
exactly.
I'm sorry, Sinatra never did. Wait, Sinatra never hit?
Probably. I don't know.
Maybe I'm just assuming. Maybe I'm assuming about the Rat Pack. All right.
But
yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I just was in such a pissed off mood the minute they sat us by the pool. I was like, this is not what it looks like on your fucking website.
Yes.
This is not what I was promised.
What did they do?
Well, we ate. I mean, it was fine.
Oh, you didn't say anything?
I didn't say anything, but I was not acting nice. I was to Jared, I just kept complaining and he was like, can we just have fun? And I just kept going, no. I'm going to keep complaining. I just kept complaining. I kept making little digs being like, oh, wow, really? Because first of all, they made mashed potatoes that they put a giant glob of gorgonzola on, and that's not written in the description.
Oh, no,
and
you must include blue cheese.
This is for my children.
Oh, no.
And it's blue cheese. You didn't think, lady, to... I don't know, give us a heads up and go, by the way, that's got a glob of stank ass blue cheese on it that you're at the time 2 and 4-year-old are probably not going to like.
Which I would say I would love though.
I know.
Please give me all the gorgonzola. But you got to let somebody know.
And it was just thing after thing. And the food was fine. It was just the ambiance killed me. I was this is not what was advertised to me. And it was so expensive and I was pissed. But I'm down for Thanksgiving at a restaurant, and I've done it before.
I've only been to a restaurant on Thanksgiving once, and it was a horrible experience also. But this was when I was much younger, and we did it with like a whole big family. We were at Disney for Thanksgiving.
Shit.
It was a rotating restaurant, and I'll never forget, we were young. We were probably in our tweens-esque area. And I just remember it was like, oh, the restaurant spins. That's really cool. That's really niche. You don't think that you might get nauseous because the restaurant
Because it does go
spins.
slow. Like,
it goes slow.
but it is.
But it does spin. And there is, exactly. It's not like a carousel. I'm not like holding on to my dinner plates. But it was just enough that I didn't think about this, and also young. And my mom wasn't thinking about that. And then I got really nauseous. And because I got really nauseous, and then I started getting pukey, then Henry started getting pukey. And I just remember we ended up, and I don't know if this was because I think the strong-willed children sometimes can make themselves nauseous. I will throw that out there. I will say we didn't want to be at the restaurant for Thanksgiving. Maybe I will say we didn't want to be at Disney for Thanksgiving. But there we were. And so all of a sudden, oops, we're puking. Sorry, Mom. Oh, you wanted to have a nice Thanksgiving? Oops, we puking.
Yeah.
And I've never been out for Thanksgiving ever since, even though it has nothing to do really probably with the restaurant or anything that we were eating.
Yeah.
Just strong-willed children.
Totally. I love a Friendsgiving. I've done a lot of Friendsgivings. I love Friendsgiving. I love, like this year, a friend is going to come over who we love them. They're coming over and she'll make, I think she might make like a Cornish hen or something smaller, or maybe just like a turkey breast, because it's like only her husband, and Jared will probably eat it. You know what I mean?
This is where I become the bitch. This is me.
You need full
hardcore.
turkey. You have like, because Jared is this way. He feels very passionately about the actual foods.
Kara, I am making a turkey tomorrow, so that
Dry
I can
run?
I gotta do my runs.
Dry
I gotta
run.
make sure that it's like you only make the turkey. Well, I some people say once a year, but I do it throughout the month of November to make sure that my skills are up to the top tier of what I require.
What's your secret for a juicy turk?
Butter. More butter. If you think, oh, that's a lot of butter. Oh, this is enough butter to stop somebody's heart. Add another pound.
Salted butter, like
Compounded.
good.
Yes, you make it like I make herbed butter so I make my own herbed butter, and that is the key underneath the skin.
And then you're
on the
basting it,
outside,
like,
and you're basting
constantly.
it. I don't go stuffed. I go empty, although stuffed with aromatics. I put my lemon in there, I put my carrot in there, I put
But not
other
stuffing.
things,
You're not putting stuffing in it. That is like that. I gotta say, and more power to you. Just like for me, I am a vegetarian, so obviously
you
whatever.
want your stuffing separate.
But like I get the separate stuffing, and stuffing is one of my favorite things. But even when I ate meat, like the stuffing that was just cooking inside of a turkey's gizzard, like belly, always felt creepy to me. Like I want that.
I'm saying this, I'm already upset. I guess I shouldn't say what the good put is going to be for the Thanksgiving show, but you can guess it's going to be something I don't like. Because outside of that, I think I love everything about Thanksgiving outside of the history. I think that's also part of my problem is that I want to be like, I'm the Empress of Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving. It's like, well, if we just took like the whole like reason of it. Like I like the idea of cooking a bunch of food for my friends
and giving thanks for your family and all the blessings that you have in your life.
I like that aspect of it. But also Holden McNeely and I get drunk during the Macy's Day Parade. Come hang out with us, twitch.tv/oh no, it's Jackie. 6 o'clock in the morning, we start drinking on Thanksgiving. And we've been doing this for
6 a.m.
10
That's because it
years.
starts at 9 a.m.
It starts at 9 a.m. So now we do 6 a.m. starting to drink Fireball. And it really puts quite I would say, come do it with us, everybody, because it really puts quite a jazz on the rest of the day.
Wow.
When you are hammered by 9 a.m., but then you take a nap and then you wake up later.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You can't do that. You've got kids. I forget that so many of these things that I'm like, oh, it's a carefree holiday. You don't got to worry about anybody else because I don't see my family and because I don't have any children. So it's very easy for me to do these things.
Well, we also alternate mornings. So
yes.
I can plan things for when it's my morning to sleep in.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. How late you sleeping in on your mornings to sleep in?
I mean, it's like 8.
This is the thing.
8:30.
I hear this from these parents. I hear so many parents that are like, oh, we alternate. It's fine. We alternate. And then you sleep in until, a whopping 8 a.m.
8:30. Like, I slept in today till 8:30.
Whoa.
And I had a dentist appointment. I go, what time is it? Like, I was like, it was so, but like, listen, I miss a boozy Thanksgiving though. We used to play beer pong in my family's garage.
Bitch,
Like,
I get
we used to get blasted.
Yes.
But I would always like come home from college and like smoke a cigarette when I got really drunk. And if my parents saw me, I'd be like, I'm an adult now. But this Thanksgiving, I do have tickets to a 10 a.m. Moana 2 showing.
Whoa.
It is my son's favorite movie.
See, this is exactly it. We literally saw a trailer for Moana 2 yesterday, and Jeff goes, who is this for? And I was like, not us,
baby.
But for other people,
But
it is for.
I'll be honest with you. Have you guys seen Moana?
I love Moana.
It's like a nearly perfect movie.
It's just, Disney doesn't always really come through with the old sequels. And I feel like they're like, remember that one song? What if we put more razzmatazz on it? And it's like the first one.
I know. Like Frozen 2. I mean, Frozen 2, they just made it so identical to the first movie that you're kind of like, what song is this for? You can't even.
Oscar does no put on Moana again.
I know. But we just went to a movie today, and every movie we go to, they're showing the Moana 2 preview, and the kids
So
are
they
both
need
like,
it, they need it,
yes.
they need it.
It like literally it's taken me through both kids. Like Rosie was obsessed with it. Now she's over it, but happy to see Moana 2 because she likes popcorn.
Of course.
And then Oscar loves Moana. It's taken me through both kids. The pandemic. I was at a party once where one of the writers of Moana was there, and she started to leave with her husband, and me and another comedian, Kurt Braunohler, chased her out of the bar.
Good for you.
And went, we just can't let you leave without telling you how important the movie Moana is to us and how it really got us through the pandemic. Like we were literally.
And you could see the glassy-eyed look.
She was like,
it was nice.
She was actually like,
okay.
Thank you. That's so nice of you to say. Because I think they didn't know a lot of people at the party. And then we came and ran them down and we're like, wait, we didn't know you would be leaving so soon. It's
kind of nice.
Waiting to talk to you.
Oh,
like,
that's great.
It was.
You probably made her night, too.
It was, I hope so. Because really, I do think like, even when Jared and I are writing a script right now, we're working on a movie, we're like, okay, it's like when you're doing like the structure of a movie and you're like, okay, this is like the all is lost moment. Like Moana is like an excellently crafted
so good.
thing, and it doesn't have any romance in it.
Yeah, man.
And it's just full feminist, like a girl who just does the best that she fucking can. And like even the guy that's supposed to help her in the end doesn't help her. And you know what I like about it at the very end? She fucking solves the problem the way a woman would solve it.
Ooh.
That is why, that's why the end of Moana makes me cry because.
Oh, I've cried to Moana multiple times.
Comes at Taka in a kind and gentle way to say, I know this isn't who you are. And I'm about to cry. And she says, and that is why it's not like a Maui swooping in and being like, Kaka, like, that, whatever. When you think that Taka's just a bad guy, that is what you think you need.
Sometimes you have to remember that perspective is beautiful. And you put yourself in someone else's shoes.
And I'm not saying women can't come at things also combatively and with violence.
I never have been aggressive before in my life.
They also come at things that way. I'm just saying she comes at it from more of like, to me, a female problem solving way.
Hell yeah.
And that's what I fucking love that it's teaching. Because my kids are always like, they ask me about it all the time. They're like, when Tafiti becomes Tafiti, I'm like, they were the same person all along. Like I
love. Wait a second. Do your kids like Moana, or do you just love Moana?
Bitch,
I love this. Is great.
Both. I'll be like, how about Moana? Like I suggest it all the time. I love it so much. But anyway, that's my daytime Thanksgiving thing, and then I'll come home and like I'm good at making two things. I'll make mashed potatoes.
I love mashed potatoes.
A degenerate comic from New York City gave me a great mashed potato recipe years ago that is also butter. And
is that what the secret is?
Yeah, it's like a lot of butter. And I have an immersion blender, so it makes it real smooth and nice.
Wait, do you go peels or no peels?
No peels.
Wow, you're crazy.
You go peels?
I go peels. I like it chunky.
You like the dirty.
I saw the second you said immersion blender, I was like, oh, I see. You're a whipped gal. I'm a chunky
Well, it also
gal.
has like sour cream in it. It's like really what I like. But I mean, I'll eat both kinds of mashed potatoes.
Oh, no, I will eat both kinds. Oh, no, please.
And I love a canned. cranberry sauce.
God damn.
Give it to me with the
I want the ridges
of
on it.
botulism on
Give
the
me
outside.
a slice of it. I don't want to see a cranberry. No, give me that
A real
slice.
berry, actually,
No.
too sour. Get out of here.
No, get out of here.
I love jellied cranberry sauce.
Yes.
So yeah, like I guess it's like I'm sitting here being like, oh, I actually have so many
I think you
preferences
do
about it.
love
I do love
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Maybe I downplay it because I think I'm subconsciously downplaying it because I can't give my kids like the same Thanksgiving that like I grew up with because I don't make the turkey. We're not all family getting together.
Right.
You know? And so I'm kind of like, let's downplay it. It's not that big of a deal. But maybe subconsciously I'm like, I do love it.
And maybe you don't want to let yourself down.
And when they're a little bit older and the airlines stop gouging people to try to make their COVID money back,
Will that ever
maybe
happen?
we will go back to
Kara,
the East Coast. I don't
will
think
it
so.
ever happen? Do you
I don't
know
think
how
so. I think
expensive it
Delta's now
is?
like it is now always $800 for you to fly coast to coast in this country.
Absolutely disgusting. As some person like me that has coast to coast family, it is insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah,
insane.
it used to be $300 to fly across country.
You know,
I flew
there's a
to-
lot of problems
I flew
that are
from New
going
York
on.
to Rome once for $350. Like, you know, you used to be able to find a deal. Not anymore.
Not
Anyway,
anymore.
let's get into today's episode because even though we usually come at you guys with some unsolicited advice where we talk gossip, listen, it's right after the election. The gossip's been chill.
It's
Everyone's
dry.
under a rock right now. And we have so much good solicited advice. So many of you wrote in and left us
Yes.
voicemails and emails and
Thank
DMs.
you guys so much for sending in your own stories, and you can ask for advice. Go to who'sthebitch.com. Get your voicemails, your emails, your DMs. Just hit us up, who'sthebitch.com.
Yes, and if you're ever feeling like it, you can call in to our live streams.
live, yes!
Which our next one will be on the 25th, which is 3 days before Thanksgiving, and it's going to be a Thanksgiving bonanza.
Oh
so
my God.
come to us with all your how do I hang out with my family over the holidays because of XYZ. I want your family drama.
Yes.
We want your Thanksgiving
Yes.
stories of days gone by.
Also, I'll talk side dishes if you want to talk side
Yeah,
dishes. I'm
yeah.
just saying, as the Empress of
our
Thanksgiving.
family arguments about recipes, give it to us, send that, and that's you can call in for that. And also, all the information's at who'sthebitch.com for tuning in, for calling in, for leaving messages.
From director Wes Anderson, Focus Features and Indian Paintbrush present The Phoenician Scheme.
It's my most important project of my lifetime.
Meet Zsa Gorda.
We keep getting assassinated unsuccessfully so far.
He's the most bold, most elusive, most wanted man on the planet.
Help yourself to a hand grenade. You're very kind.
Starring Benicio del Toro, Mia Threppleton, Michael Cera, Tom Hanks, Scarlett Johansson, and Jeffrey Wright. The Phoenician Scheme, rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters everywhere, June 6th.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Let's get started.
Please.
Okay, so this is our first voicemail.
Thank you for calling Who's the Bitch. Tell us in the voicemail who's the bitch. Beep.
I helped my friend get a job at my company about 6 years ago. We're on the same team. And ever since then, I've risen up through the ranks and have became like a quasi manager to her. And my manager has noticed that she has been lying essentially about like when she clocks out, when she clocks in, and he'll check the video camera outside the building, security camera, and when she says she's like, I didn't take a lunch, she left for the full hour. He wants me to monitor that now and report back to him, and I know the reason kind of why she's doing it. She's having a hard time with having 2 kids. That she's currently in the titling doesn't pay as well if you're not making the full 40 hours. So I think she's really struggling with money. And she's also having trouble with child monitoring. Like her kids are getting sick and her parents can't watch them anymore. And I think she's just trying to make up time to try and have the paycheck be the same because there's so many bills adding up for her. am I the bitch if I'm reporting back to him all this stuff? And I'm just worried my friend could potentially get fired. Okay. Thank you so much. Love you, Jackie. Bye-bye.
Okay.
I love you too.
So
thank you so much for calling in.
And thank you so much to everybody who always says, I love you, Jackie, and just lets me sit here.
You know what, Kara? I
appreciate
love
it.
you. Yeah, I love you, Kara.
I love it. I know you guys know Jackie, some of you better, but I am sitting right fucking here. So
Kara counts.
You can say, I love you, Jackie. Kara, I acknowledge you. How about that? Kara, I acknowledge you, live and breathe and exist in the world. I'm just kidding. Listen. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. So
No, this is
thank you for calling. This is,
Yes.
I really loved when we got this one because I do think that there is a world of drama and complications around working with friends.
Yes.
It's so complicated. It's like you think you want to work with your friends. We are in a business where we work like exclusively with our friends
Yes.
and it can be so complicated, but it's like I don't know. It's different the ins and outs of getting someone a job like
hired
in a corporate
into,
way too,
yes.
like in like not creative,
Yes.
like industries. No offense, I'm sure titling can be. I think that's what you said it was. I'm sure there can be some creativity there, but you know what I mean, where there's like a hierarchy, like you're this level, I'm this level, my boss is above me, and like.
Well, also, I think what you're getting at too is like in the way that we work, it's fairly nebulous whether you're doing a good job or whether you're not doing a good job. So it really is more of a like. An interesting way of going about of like, oh, I don't think that you are providing what we need, whereas this is actually cut and dry.
Yeah.
And it is like where your friend, unfortunately, is not being completely truthful. And I'm saying this as someone that I have hired friends when I was a manager at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I have hired friends before and I have had to fire friends before. And I understand. I just want you to know I'm with you. I understand where you are right now. I understand the idea of giving a friend a job and wanting to help somebody out. And then I've definitely had friends before where I know they desperately need a job and then I offer them up a job or have somebody else offer them up a job and they're like, oh, I'd rather not. And it's like, well, you need a
Did you need a job?
I thought you needed a job.
Yeah.
So there's all many millions of ways it can get murky working with friends.
Yes. I mean, especially also because like we're in the kind of field where there's not really as much hierarchy. Like there's not really like you're often working with people.
Yes.
Yeah, you have your brother boss.
Yes.
But like besides that, it's like everybody's kind of like you know, even if you're
We're all on the same level.
I guess even if you're shooting a TV show, there is like a call sheet where it's like, you know, someone is higher than you. And so, but I wouldn't say that like, I would say everybody kind of goes around each other to bosses and stuff to like get things handled. Like you wouldn't, if you were number 5, like 1 on the call sheet, you wouldn't go up to like a number 7 on the call sheet and go, you're actually behaving inappropriately. You'd go to like the director or somebody and you'd go handle this.
Exactly.
So I guess what I'm saying is I see how it is with your work. I guess my question that I'm wondering is, I do think that your friend is, it sounds like she's struggling, right? So, and I think it's cool that you're really trying to think about how to handle this.
And again, not to go back to perspective, but I do feel it's very important in these situations. I think it's very empathetic and beautiful that you are looking at this situation from where your friend is coming from as well. Like you are keeping that aware because not all bosses and not all coworkers do that. They're just like, oh, you're fucking up. And I will even say it seems like your boss is not just like, oh, she's fired. Oh, this is like discrepancies. Oh, it's like, all right, let's monitor the situation. So I will say it seems like you're at least working in like amongst not as toxic of a situation, at least when it comes to this situation.
Yes. And I also think I guess I'm wondering, is there a possibility of you speaking to your friend, pulling her aside and going, listen, I know because we're friends that you've got some shit going on right now, but they're starting to notice. I don't want to be in a position where I have to like report you, but they're asking me to kind of keep tabs on you. So this has got to change. Like, just give her the heads up. You know what I mean? And I have to say, without trying to be political, I know we're in a bit of a dark spot now post-election, but this is why women need to have reproductive rights, because I'm not saying this woman didn't want to have her 2 kids, but having 2 kids and trying to hold a job down and your childcare falls through, this is how people become homeless.
Yeah,
this
you're
is how people's
yes.
whole life can fucking, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and because of kid stuff, you can't, like, or when you have to, like, that this government helps with childcare at all is what I mean.
Right.
Because it's like, this is a thing that women are often left with. This is why women can't advance in the workforce a lot of times. And so I feel for your friend is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I also feel for you because, like, yeah, this is like your job. You don't want this to be a ding on you that you're not like a good manager or that you have favoritism towards someone that you have a personal relationship with. I totally get it. So I guess, yeah.
And also at the same, like, my first initial thought was, well, could you talk to your boss and be like, is there someone else that could do the actual watching and, it's like if there was another person on your level that could also help. But I realize as I'm thinking that, like, but this is your job.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes you have to do, I would hope that my friend, like in the friend's situation that she's in, that she wouldn't hold that against you. But I think you're so right, Kara, because I'm thinking about the network. I'm thinking about how we all work together. And you're right. When it is a good friend, you pull them off to the side and be like, hey, I think you've been
they're noticing. I know this sucks, but like, what can we do? Like, maybe there's some way that she can work from home whatever. That's probably impossible. I'm sure we've gone through everything. But it's like, yeah, she can't lie and say she took lunch, but then she leaves. You can't.
It's so much. It's going to be uncomfortable for you to bring this to your friend, but it's going to be a lot more uncomfortable when it is brought to her attention by your boss while she's getting fired.
Yeah.
And I think that...
And if the kids weren't involved, I have to say, I'd be like, your friend's being a fucking bitch. If this wasn't like related to the fact that her kids do get sick, your parents are backing out of childcare, like that's stressful for her. I'm sure she's freaking out. And
the kids are sick, so they can't go to school.
Does it
so
sound here like there's a man in the picture or a dad or whatever in the picture or like a partner of any kind? So I get, because like if this was just a person that you went on a limb for and got a job for and then they're fucking, I'd be like, she's a bitch. Tell her to cut it out or you're reporting her or whatever. But I get how we have to tread a little bit lightly because this woman has a family and she's going through a hard time right now, as are so many people.
But also, this is not on you. And I need you to know, and maybe this is only, I'm speaking from my own experience, because as someone that has had to fire a friend before, when I knew that they needed the job, I beat myself up because of it, even though it was them that didn't do the right job and it was just my job that I had to fire them. But I remember my friend being he was so upset with me.
Yeah.
And I just had to do my job.
The thing is too, is like, I really believe in feedback. Like you can't, like maybe she's just kind of like,
I'm kind of getting away with it.
If she's been getting away with it and she's like, nobody really cares, then I'm going to just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if there's video cameras and building security, it's like they are noticing, girl. And like, I think you as a friend or a coworker,
right,
have the responsibility to give her some feedback and be like, hey, they're noticing this. I'm going to have to start reporting it. Like, you got to straighten it up. And maybe, who knows, maybe you'll have that combo with her and she'll be like, fuck, I can't lose this job. And she'll completely straighten up.
And also, I like that, man, you're so good with the corporate lingo as someone that's never worked in any kind of corporation. Feedback. I think that keeping it underneath the umbrella of feedback of like, hey, this is just what, is being discussed. And so it's not, but it is not a conversation I would say that if it was a good friend of mine, I would have in the office. I'd probably be like, hey, let's like grab lunch, or
yes, totally.
I'd love to like get a drink, get a happy hour drink after work today, just to like have a little conversation.
Absolutely.
So that you can have more of a private conversation.
Totally. Private convo. And then, but like, I guess, as your question is like, am I the bitch for reporting back to him? No, you're doing your job. I would say it would be a little bit bitchy if you just like didn't give her any kind of heads up.
I think that you are right. And
give her a little heads up. Give her like a friend to friend, like, girl, you gotta stop that shit. Like, you can't be cutting out for lunch and lying about it and this and that,
Yeah. And again, but now I would say it is a bitchless crime.
Yeah.
Because the friend, like you said, is not just being a jag-off. Like, she's genuinely having a difficult time right now.
And it sucks because I do wish that more industries and businesses and corporations were just more patient with like people just saying, oh, your kid got sick? Okay, go home, finish up your work
or if
later
there was any
tonight,
kind of infrastructure, or if there was any, there's lots of things.
Where it wasn't like
there's lots of things that could happen.
You feel like you have to go sneaking around lying because you know you can't ask, because then they'll probably tell you no, and maybe they'll fire you for even asking or whatever. Like, you know. But damn, thanks for calling in with that one. If this sparks anything in anyone more questions about, because like it's not, my best friend is going through this right now where like her and our other friend work in the same field, and the other friend is like not in a position that you can recommend her for stuff, but kind of like asks to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've definitely told people, I don't know. I think I've been a bitch and said I'll put a word in and then been like, no, you're not like trustworthy. Like, I don't think I could. I don't want my name on you.
Yes.
Professionally.
And I actually think that might be a part of the feedback when you're talking to your friend about this, is also like the gentle reminder of like, this is kind of on my head.
Yeah.
And like, I really don't want to bring this on you, but you're the reason. Yeah, I'm the reason you got hired.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting, too, because I feel like when you're in your 20s, you were like, oh, yeah, I'll get you a job.
Totally.
It really takes a lot. And I need to know someone's definitely able to do a job now before I actually, say they should be hired for anything.
Because I have a friend that's recommended me for a bunch of writing jobs and I've gotten because like she couldn't do them. And she's like, there's really like 2 people that I feel comfortable recommending people to, because like so many people are funny and creative and then just like
shit the bed,
bad at showing up,
organizing,
yes. And it's just like, yeah, I get that. And it's like, you recommend a bad person, they're not coming to you next time.
No.
They're not coming to you for the work to begin with,
So it's also good to just keep that as part of the conversation of like, I don't want you to lose your job.
Yeah.
And
maybe as a friend, is there anything I can do? I mean, not like you can leave work to go watch her kids or something, but like, how can we, like, is there any way like we can talk this out and game out some solutions, like as a friend,
Yes.
But I hope that she figures it out. Send us an update. Let us know. I want to know also, was she irresponsible, like doing this shit before the childcare fell through and before the financial stuff? Like, has it always been like this?
And also let us know if you give her the feedback. Like, let us know how it goes. I want to know how it goes.
Yeah, I would recommend a tiny little splash of wine while you do this. If you're the drinking kind.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe a happy hour. Yeah.
Okay, this next one, this is a juicy baby. I'll tell you that.
All right, I'm ready for juicy.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you for calling Who's the Bitch. Tell us in the voicemail who's the bitch. Beep.
So my older brother was kidnapped before I was born. He was kidnapped 2 weeks before I was born by his biological mother. My father had full custody of him. She kidnapped him. Fast forward, he's in jail. He has been in jail his whole life. We found him. He had a horrible upbringing, so I get that. His life sucks. But I have tried many times. We have tried many times. We have bought him cars and things and stuff and tried to fund his life and get him out of jail. And his most recent stint, he's in for attempted murder, and he's probably going to be there till he dies.
Ooh.
He wants me to send him money. He thinks I owe it to him. I try to talk to him. I try to speak with him. He thinks we've had a privileged life because I grew up with my father, who wanted him. We never didn't want him. We searched for him my entire life up until I was 10, 12, and we actually found him, and that's when we knew he was in jail. But now he thinks because we never were by his side, we owe him. And I told him straight up. I told him, I said, I'm not going to fund your life in jail. I'm sorry. I was in the military. For me, being in jail is actually more comfortable than the military. And people seem to hate that I say that. But it is. Like, you get commissary, you get things. Like, I was deployed. I did 18 months in Syria. Like, it's not comfortable out there, but he wants us to make his life comfortable. And he thinks that we owe it to him because we have a family. We have all the things that he wants. We have everything he hasn't been given. And I understand that he grew up rough, and I understand that he was taken from us, and I understand that unfortunately, his mother's choices has influenced the way that he is. But I also think that you are a 43-year-old man. You can make your own choices. And you chose to rob and shoot someone. So I really don't feel bad for him. So I don't send him money. I have done it a few times when I was pressured to, but I also don't give into it. And I told him just to suck it up. So, am I the bitch? Thanks. Love y'all.
Damn.
Wow.
Daniel. Okay.
Wow.
This is that is a really heavy, that's intense.
Yes.
It's really intense because, Jesus, you guys are like a sliding doors scenario. Like, you're like you have the same father, but then you just lived completely different lives. And
it's always very interesting that we talk about this in our family a lot because my mother broke the cycle of abuse in our family, horrific abuse. And we talk a lot about, my mom works with addicts and we talk often about how there is so much of the well, this happened to me and it didn't happen to you and my life is harder and you should also suffer more from it. And it's so easy to get wrapped up in the guilt of feeling that way of oh, he was treated so poorly and now he acts this way because he was treated so poorly and but also my husband was treated very poorly, had a really, really bad upbringing, and he's a really good person.
Yeah.
And has worked really, really hard. And same with my mother. Many years of therapy, really has worked hard. And it's one of the things that my mom really loved about my husband is how hard he has worked to take the narrative of his life back.
Yeah.
And again, it was not easy. And I'm not saying that, everybody's struggles and everybody's experiences are different. And of course, he wanted that. And he went after the change.
Yeah.
My mom went after the change. My mom literally took parenting classes because she had no idea how to raise kids because she knew it wasn't how she was raised.
Yeah.
So she, worked really hard and it was very difficult to change that.
Yeah.
Now I say all of that because of the guilt that this person, I'm assuming, also feels because you're even writing this in because you owe him nothing.
Yeah.
You owe him nothing.
Yeah. But it sounds like maybe you've had a little bit of survivor's guilt almost,
How could you not?
Yeah.
It is such, I'm sure you look at your life and think, I wish he could have been raised by my dad in our loving home. And I wish that he could have that. But like you said, he is not, you're not talking about, at first I was like, all right, let's see how, you said 43 years old.
Yeah.
You are not talking about a 14-year-old here. And I'm not saying that he should be able to figure this out by now. I understand.
There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of privileges involved.
There's a lot. Believe me,
Yeah.
I completely get that. And I'm not saying that this is easy.
Yeah.
It's just there are other choices in your life. And I understand that mental health sometimes makes it that you cannot see those other choices or how hard you could work to change your life.
Right.
But it is not your fault that he is the person that he is. It is not your fault that he is in the situation that he is in. And it never has been. And it never will be.
Yeah. That's true. And it sucks because it feels like if you guys just kind of formed an organic relationship that progressed, you would probably just want to send him some money here and there for his commissary,
Yes.
right? But because he's coming at you with this "you owe me" thing,
yes, finger in your face,
yeah, you had a better life than me, which is a choice that literally was not yours, not given to you.
But also, not to speak for your life as well, the person that wrote in of how do you know how much different and what and I'm not saying that maybe I had an amazing experience and he had this, but it's that doesn't mean that your life wasn't also difficult.
Right.
And that the things that you've went through and that you haven't experienced traumas as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 18 months in Syria sounds pretty traumatic. But yeah, I think I mean, you're definitely I think you're being a bitch because you have to be. You're setting a boundary, really, here. You're like, I'm not going to give you this because you feel like you're demanding it.
Right.
Like he's demanding it from you. And I think that's a good bitchy boundary to set.
Yes. It is a self-care boundary that you need to set. And I'm very happy for you and I'm very proud of you because it's a really difficult thing to do. It is difficult when someone for years has been telling you that, what they are owed and how you should feel. No wonder you feel the way that you do.
Yeah.
You have worked so hard to have the life that you have and become the person that you are.
And I will say though, privileges are inherent. Like people have certain privileges. Like you maybe he feels like you were born on second base, and okay, but that's really not like your problem. It's like I have friends who are quite wealthy, and then I have other friends who will go, they should be paying for every dinner that we go out to, and I go, it's really not my business to tell anyone how to spend their money just because they have it. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, he's doing himself a disservice too, but it sounds like he's probably just doesn't have like the emotional like vocabulary to be like, oh, if I just formed a relationship with my siblings, I bet you they would just help me out if I needed it. Like, and I asked,
right?
But you're coming at it so aggressively, and it is sad. It's just sad that this is his rest of his life, and he just feels that, you guys owe him something because he got a raw deal.
This summer, Instacart is bringing back your favorites from 1999 with prices from 1999. That means 90s prices on juice pouches that ought to be respected, 90s prices on boxed mac and cheese, and 90s prices on ham, cheese, and cracker lunches. Enjoy all those throwbacks and more at throwback prices, only through Instacart. $4.72 maximum discount per $10 of eligible items. Limit 3 offers per order. Expires September 5th while supplies last. Discount based on CPI comparison.
You know that someone is really struggling with their mental health, that like I say this as someone that did have a grandmother who was a true narcissist, that it is so interesting how people can be like, it's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else's fault. It's everybody else's fault. It's never been my fault. Every single time, it's never ever my fault. It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah.
And any person that is like that in your life now does not mean that they are a true narcissist. There's just something about that idea that immediately shuts me off to wanting to help someone.
Yeah.
If you are never the problem in your life, if you have never done anything wrong to get you into the place, that martyrdom syndrome, I shut off. I have no patience for the woe is me, everything has always happened to me. No.
And you don't realize that you're the common denominator.
You are the common denominator.
Yeah.
If it is always like every friend group you've ever been a part of, but like everybody else was always the bitch.
You have a wake of broken friendships behind you, but you're the person who's like, everyone's jealous of me and everyone always comes for me. Like, whatever.
Exactly.
It's whatever. But this is just like, I get where you're coming from, because this just feels like so sad that like, had his mother not made that choice, he could have had a totally different life.
Yes.
Honestly,
who's the bitch?
She's the bitch.
She's the bitch.
His bio mom's the bitch.
That's the fucking bit. The person that did this, that the person that like chose to do this.
Yeah.
And again, I'm assuming mental health issues as well.
There could be mental health, addiction issues, all kinds of stuff. I think
as far
also,
as anger should be.
Like, I work with, someone who will ask me for money sometimes, who is, a foster youth or whatever. And sometimes I help. And other times I'm like, I don't think I can help this. I think it's like you have to set boundaries.
Do you do things like buy her toilet paper instead? Like, do you do that kind of stuff? Like, rather, like, I have someone in my family life that like they'll ask for money, but rather than that, I'll like send something I know they need.
Yeah. Yes, it's never like cash. She's never asked me for cash or anything like that. No, it's always like, I want this thing. Can you help me? Like, and she knows. And I'll sometimes talk it out with her and be like, that seems like kind of a purchase that doesn't need to be made right now or whatever. Yeah. And like, or, well, why don't we split this? I don't know. There's certain way. I recognize that there's like, it's just a tricky, it's a tricky dynamic. I just didn't want to create a relationship where if I said yes every single time, that now I'm like, oh, we don't even have a relationship. I'm like a piggy bank to her.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like maybe you could tell him like, I'm feeling like kind of conflicted about the financial part of this right now. Like I would love for us to like write letters and get to know each other better. And like, I don't know, I didn't really get the sense of like, after you found him, how much time you've actually spent to him, or if he's been with him, or if he's been incarcerated most of the time. But if you're like, I'd love to build a relationship with you, and like, maybe let's start writing letters. Maybe I don't know if you're allowed to talk on the phone. Let's start like, and build up to like a visit or whatever. And then maybe then you'll get to a place where you feel comfortable, like
if you
gifting
want
him
that,
money
yeah,
when he needs it or whatever. But I think that you're actually, by like kind of rejecting this request, you're giving him the opportunity to do a little bit of soul searching.
Yes, you're right.
You know?
Yes.
And I hope that he can do that in prison, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who fucking knows? But damn, thank you for writing in.
Thank you so
or calling
much.
in. That is like,
thank you so much.
Yeah. That's a crazy situation. Okay, here's another one. We got, baby.
I'm ready for it.
Thank you for calling Who's the Bitch. Tell us in the voicemail who's the bitch. Beep.
Hey, y'all. I got a little story. So it goes like this. I have a friend that I've known for about 5 years, and I met them 5 years ago at work and found out that we have a lot in common, and we're both in bands and play music, and now we're in bands together, and we joke around and have like the same stupid little language, you know, and it's just like we're very in sync in a lot of ways. So I was going on tour last summer with a band that they are not in, but I invited them to come along because we both have summers off, so why not? So we are going on our tour, a little trip all the way from Florida to New York and back. And my friend loves smoking weed, and my bandmates love smoking weed. And weed, personally, not for me, but God bless them. And so they're, you know, hitting the bowl, passing around the blunt, just doing their thing. And so I bring a little flask of tequila for myself because I'm like, oh, y'all got a little buzz? Like, I want a little buzz. So I'm sipping that, but here's the thing, is that my friend gave up alcohol a couple months earlier because they didn't like the choices they were making on it and got very passionate about how alcohol is very much not for them. So while they're smoking their little weeds, I'm hitting my little flask, and every time I do, I feel like I get a little death glare from them. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. So one more layer to the story is that my friend, God bless them, I love them so much, but they love to be the center of attention when it's like more than 2 or 3 people hanging out. And I think it's a defense mechanism of, you know, like, oh, I'm feeling insecure, like I just got to like ramp it up, you know? So they love to be, you know, attract all of the limelight and get all of the attention. And that was definitely apparent on this tour. And so I was getting to feel really left out. So I don't really know who started the conversation, but at some point we went to a rest stop and the bandmates got out, but me and my friends stayed in the car. And I'm very passionate about like I statements and telling how I feel without like projecting anything and trying to move forward with, you know, a plan in mind to problem solve. So I end up saying something like, I feel very left out with the conversations that you guys are having. Can you please, you know, try to include me or please ask me some questions? You know, I feel not included. And so immediately they come back with, well, I don't like that you're drinking. And so, yeah, that's really making me very upset and very triggering me. And I'm like, oh, what? Like, you know, like this is supposed to be like, okay, I wanted to feel heard. Like this is the whole thing. I said this because I don't feel heard right now. And then now I feel like extra unheard, you know, and I want to validate what they're saying. And I want to be empathetic, but also y'all are smoking hella weed in my face all day, every day. Like, and again, I don't mind weed, but if that weed is so much more intrusive to smoke than me having a little sippy in the corner, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I am crying at this point in the car because I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I'm so unheard. And I feel like this is like something that should be a separate conversation. And also I feel like if you have a problem with alcohol, that's your problem with alcohol, you know? And like, So anyway, the bandmates come back in the car, and the conversation, if you can call it that, stops, and the rest of the tour is very awkward. So, who is the bitch?
Okay, this is good. This is a real good one.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much for calling in with this because, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to jump right to I don't like your friend very much, but I know you love her and God bless her. But
yes, I think that sounds great.
I mean, listen. Who among us does not love being the center of attention in a medium-sized group?
Oh, me?
Me? How dare you? How dare you?
Oh, me?
Of course, I know exactly what kind of person this is because I can be this kind of person. But I don't know. If you are getting off of alcohol and that's just really not it's not possible for you to also control what everyone else around you is doing.
No.
You can't. And that's, I think, why quitting something like alcohol or quitting smoking or quitting anything is difficult because you have to be around other people that are going to continue to do it.
Yes.
You cannot banish it from your life. And if that is how you feel, if your problem is so severe, you need to not be on a tour.
You need to not be on a tour.
And I can't imagine the problem is so severe because you're using another substance. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think you don't like the decision you're making on alcohol. Great. But
there's a great choice for you.
But you're smoking weed and as somebody who literally has been smoking weed for 25 years to try to fit in because I don't really like weed that much. I do it because other people are doing it. And sometimes I have a good time doing it. Yeah. So I'll be like, oh, yeah, that other time I did it, it was fun. It's then every time I do it, I get too high. I'm so paranoid. I think everybody hates me. And I wake up in the morning going, why do you do this?
Why
do you
do
weed?
it?
And it's you're a good friend of mine who loves to smoke weed.
Love weed.
I have a ton of friends in my life who like to smoke weed. My husband takes a gummy. He doesn't drink. My husband quit drinking. My husband quit drinking and has never once said, you need to stop drinking. It's making me uncomfortable. And I said, is this something that you want me to pull back on? He's like, not at all. And that's can be your friend's own choice. But I don't think you can be putting yourself in a situation where you're on a band tour and policing what substances people are allowed to have.
Correct.
Especially because I could see her point if you were we're going to the bar and you're just shots going fucking nuts, getting blackout drunk every night. And she's like, hey, I'm trying to quit alcohol. And you're just getting blacked. And it's I could see her having maybe a point then. You're having a little sip while everyone else is smoking weed because it's your alternative to that. I see zero problem with that. And I think that she's, like you said, you nailed it. She's not hearing you.
No, she's not. And of course you're feeling unheard.
Yeah.
Because, and especially when you come at a situation with the I phrases, which I completely, I'm with you. I've been in therapy for more than half my life. I love myself an I phrase. So I am with you on that. And it's got to be so frustrating to come to a good friend of yours expecting to be heard. So not only that, you're coming to the situation being oh, I just need to say this and I'm sure everything will be fine and it'll be more understanding. So I get being upset in this situation, especially being talked to like that, but it also seems fairly defensive on your friend's part.
Yes.
Of well, you. Where it's well, calm down for a second. You were just, it seemed like in this situation, you came at them not aggressively. It was more just hey, this is kind of how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
Unless it did come off as more aggressive, which is maybe why she became more defensive. And I imagine someone that as a person that has given up different addictions in my lifetime, I completely understand. I was a speed addict for a long time, and it was hard for me to be around comedy shows because there was a lot of blow and speed everywhere. But I just had a conversation with myself, continuing to go to therapy of can I continue?
Yeah.
Can I handle this? And I struggled, but I did it. But it was something that I wanted to do, and I didn't make it anybody else's issue.
Yeah.
Because you can't control other people. You can't make other people do anything.
Right.
And It's not fair unless this was a large conversation, which maybe it should have been before you went on tour together of like hey, how are we going to tackle this situation?
Yeah.
Because my husband also doesn't drink. And when we first started dating, I was still a degenerate alcoholic. And he straight up, I think a month deep, was just like, girl, I don't want to be with an alcoholic. So if you're going to continue to drink like this, I understand, but I'd like to not see you anymore. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. And it just made me stop. It made me not do any of that anymore.
Yeah.
But it was so embarrassing. But it was also a really difficult thing for him to have to say because I understand. Because it wasn't like I was just taking a couple of sips. Like I was blackout drunk every night.
That's why I think there's something more to this, right?
Yes.
There's definitely something more to this situation.
Of
This is
why
not-
she stopped
this
drinking.
Is not, you're doing weed and you're doing alcohol, and I don't like that you guys are, this is not that you guys have different party substances and you're butting heads about it. This is like, she's making you feel excluded on the tour bus with the conversations. And why? Because she's sucking all the energy out of the room with like her desire for attention. That's absolutely the sign of kind of a narcissistic person. I'm not going to diagnose anybody.
But it's still making it about her. Like even this of like, well, you're doing that in front of me. And like that still makes it about her.
Because
like,
it's
all
like,
of this.
and is even if that's true, even if I'm triggering your drinking, the way you chose to respond to it was excluding me on purpose.
Right.
I'm bringing that to you.
Right.
I'm bringing to you that I'm feeling excluded, and you're bringing to me that you don't like my drinking. It's kind of an apple and orange thing. Like, let's talk about the drinking separately. Like, why are you excluding me in conversations? Why aren't you including me? Like, we're supposed to be friends. Like, and if it's punishment for the fact that you're drinking, then that's like a deeply immature.
Yeah, and I don't know if I want to be friends with you anymore if that's how you're going to respond.
But if it's like a compulsive desire to want everyone in the conversation focusing on her, like, and she excludes you, I would have assumed that you would have clocked that earlier than now.
Right.
Like, this is something that she's done before? Like when you guys are back in your cities and not on like a small car ride or whatever, like backstage at shows. Is this something that's happening? Because I would sort of start to take stock of like, what is she like all the time in groups, you know? And maybe you guys are better as one-on-one friends where like you are just with one or two other people and it's not groups because she's too me with the limelight, like you said. And you're like,
let's not do
You're
this.
like, okay, but include me? Like, ask me a question? Like, it feels like you're boxing me out.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know? So
I think you're so right. And I wonder because as someone that like, again, I gave up drinking to that extent of my own choice because it wasn't like he said, you must do this.
Yeah.
It was like I'm just not going. It's another one of those I says. He said, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it never was a problem me being around even people that were getting blacked out because I was like, oh, I made this decision. And I do wonder if your friend feels like this was a decision that she did not want to make. It was a decision that maybe something happened that I know she said the choices she's making, like did something else, like did something that was more than just triggering, like did something like what made it be it so that like she decided she could never drink again. And why does she feel like it is I feel that she's coming at this from like I can't drink, nobody can drink. Which
but the other part of this too, though, is that this could have been a longer conversation where you guys really got somewhere and it got interrupted. And I really wish that there had been
a car.
I wish that there had been another point of the tour where you could have pulled her aside and been like, "Hey, can we kind of finish what we were talking about?" Because she may have just lashed out at you about the alcohol thing because she felt defensive in the moment. But then if like you had a chance to really like go into it more,
right?
You could have been like, hey, I don't really see why me taking little sips of a flask while you're smoking weed, which is not my preference of a way to have fun, is a big deal. Like, can you say more about why that's bothering you? Because I'm not making bad choices. I'm not swinging from the fucking chandeliers. Like, I'm not, so say more about why that's bothering you. And so were you punishing me for that instead of just coming to me and telling me that made you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's just like, I wish that this conversation had continued because I think you guys may have gotten there, but because it was interrupted, it was like you brought up your feelings. She kind of shut you down, but you had no kind of recourse to keep it going, to work it out. And now, I don't know where you stand right now.
That's my question too. Where do you stand now? Is this the kind of person that you think that you would like to go? I mean, obviously you work together in a music capacity. So it's like, is this a person that you think that you can have that conversation with of like separated from these, like being in the car, separated from all of it? Seems like it's been a little bit of time that you can do the like, hey, I'd love to go get dinner or something and just sit and talk.
Because you guys have been friends for 5 years, you said here, and you met at work, and then you sort of discovered you had a lot in common, and then the band stuff started, and now you're in bands together, and now you're touring or whatever, and you're in sync in a lot of ways, but I would say that that's still a pretty young, that could be still a pretty young friendship. I don't know how old you guys are. I don't know. I've gotten extremely close with people in like 3 months.
Yes.
But I've also been like, I've been friends with them for like 5 or 6 years. But like really when we did X together is when we really we went on a trip together. This is a trip, traveling.
I thought you meant ecstasy. I was like, ecstasy will definitely bring people together.
That really brought us together. But yeah, like for example though, like doing like a drug thing like that can be like a vulnerable time where you're like, okay, we're going to do drugs together. Or we're going on a trip together, or we both had a baby at the same time. I've had friends where I'm like, we were not even that close, and we had kids at the same time, and now we're like good buddies.
Yeah.
There's just certain things. So it's possible that maybe this is kind of like your guys' first bump in the road, and I think you need to work it out if it's going to continue to be a friendship, and if you really feel. I think you're realizing some stuff about her that maybe you didn't know when you guys were just like, work buddies, friends in a band. And now this is some stuff like that she likes the attention. That she's maybe not always receptive to criticism or feedback
well, not to be, to really question you about this, Kara, but I feel like my bestest friend who I've been best friends with for like 20 something years, we have had 3 screaming match fights. Do you have like a bestie that you're like, there was like 10 months where we just didn't speak to each other and then we came back around?
Yes, I have definitely. My best friend and I like really haven't fought a lot. We've had like my best friend since like 6th grade. We really haven't fought a lot. But I mean, I've been mad at her for sure. Like we haven't had screaming fights. I have had screaming fights with friends. I always feel like you come back stronger after you like work through that kind of stuff.
If you want to. If you both want
to. If it keeps happening, like I do have a friend where I had like I've had a lot of fights with her over the years, and I cut her
it was
out
awkward.
like 9 years ago.
Exactly, and then you get rid of them.
This honestly, I've tried so many times, this just isn't working out. But yeah, of course, like you have to, people that are like, we've never fought. It's like, yeah, me and my best friend from home have not really fought a ton, but we have definitely fought. And that's mostly because then we went to different colleges and have really never lived in the same city again since. You know what I mean?
Sense, yes.
So it's like, of course we don't have like that, but like the day-to-day friends that you're with all the time. Yeah, you could have like, definitely I've had quiet fights with friends. Quiet fights.
Scary ones.
Not speaking, like not able to articulate what's going on, but something's fucked up in the friendship. Like definitely. So I just think that this warrants a deeper conversation, and you're not being a bitch. Obviously, we're getting the side from you. So it's hard to say, like, call anybody a bitch in this situation.
Right.
Like, she sounds a little bit bitchy to me because to me, it's hypocritical to say, I'm going to sit here and smoke weed and blow weed smoke in your face, and you can't sip from a little flask of tequila to me.
Especially if she were eating edibles, I would feel differently. I feel like she is making it more of your issue if she is smoking weed in the car, and that comes from someone. I'm a huge stoner.
If I was quitting smoking, and if I were you, and I'd be like, would you mind like not smoking weed in the car? It's like triggering me. I'm quitting smoking.
Completely
it's been so
fine.
hard. Like again, these are all things you can communicate about.
Yes.
You don't have to like do guesswork about it.
No.
But it feels like she like felt a critique, lashed out at you about the alcohol thing, and that's not really what it is. And maybe there's a reason why she doesn't want to include you in conversations. Maybe she thinks you're more interesting than her. Maybe she is not even thinking about you because she's so obsessed with the attention she's getting in the moment, telling a great story.
About that.
She's not even thinking about you. And like, there's a million little scenarios it could be, but I have to say I don't think you're the bitch because you're coming to her with your statements about how you feel and you're trying to have a conversation. And I don't think she's the bitch because maybe she could have gotten into that conversation had it not been interrupted.
Right.
Please
You're
tell
right.
us what happened.
Oh my God, please.
I want you guys to work it out.
This is this damn show. I just seethe for updates.
I just want the updates so badly.
So bad.
Call or email back with an update if you don't feel like calling again. But like, yeah, email or tell us, like, I want to know what's going on.
who'sthebitch.com, or you can join us for our live stream on the 25th of November.
Yes, we're going to keep dragging out the... Yes, 25th. The 25th of November, 4 days before Thanksgiving. I know there's shit. Before we leave, let's do one more quickie.
Okay.
We're going to do this quickie. We got this one on Instagram, and I don't want to... the person didn't say whether I could name them, but I don't really like to name anyone unless they specifically
I feel like
say
it's
we
for
can.
the best, to not name people. And just so you guys know, when you write in or when you call in, we're going to veer more towards the side of not telling people your name.
Unless you're like, please refer to me by name. I need to hear my name come out of your mouth.
And we will do it.
Yeah. Give it to us. Okay, so this person writes in, I scolded a 20-something at a sporting event.
Ooh.
That's the sort of top sentence.
A broccoli head. Okay, I guess they're not really broccoli heads. I guess that's younger.
What's a broccoli head?
With the dumb haircut, where they're like all the young boys, they've got the side shave with the big poof on top, the broccoli haircut.
We used to call that a broccoli haircut for soccer players in high school. They all had that haircut.
I guess they also more refer to it as like the alpaca now, but I stick with my broccoli.
Okay, so last week we went to an NFL game with some friends. I was sitting towards the middle of the row chatting with my friend, and my husband was a few seats down holding our sleeping 4-month-old baby.
What?
I happened to look over just as a cloud of smoke enveloped in caps, enveloped my baby because two girls in the row in front of us were trying to hide the fact that they were vaping. Stadium policy, there is no smoking of any kind, and I have seen people get kicked out for vaping. I'd had a few mimosas, so I came in pretty hot and told them to have a little bit of awareness because there was a baby behind them. I think I scared this girl because she apologized several times. Am I the bitch? Am I the bitch for calling these girls out? Should I have just reported them to security? My husband seems to think my reaction was a little over the top, but if I don't tell the youth to think about someone other than themselves, who will? I have a lot of thoughts here.
This.
I have so many thoughts here. First of all,
you're the bitch. But I say that lovingly.
It is wild to bring a 4-month-old to an NFL game. I don't know. I've never been to an NFL game, so I don't know. That just feels a little bit wild. Do you do that all the time? Is that like, do you just put a little pair of like earphones on a 4-month-old and like, but I will say, we are all entitled to smoke-free air and vape-free air or whatever, because if that is the rules, I actually think you're a little bit less of a bitch for yelling at them yourself, because telling security they would have just been kicked out.
Yes.
And so I think you yelled at them. You popped off and you had your little fucking, I love a drunk mom on a mimosa. That is me. I feel seen. You had your little pop off moment and you yelled at them. I don't think you came in too hot. I do think it's fucking wild you brought a baby to an NFL game.
4-month-old to an NFL. Again, I'm not a parent, but I feel like, but I guess, you do see the babies. Did you bring your babies to a lot? Because I see them with the big muffs
I brought them to stuff with the earmuffs or whatever. I didn't bring them to like loud event. Like, okay, I brought my daughter one time to see the movie Palms. It was a cheerleading movie starring Diane Keaton.
Old woman cheerleading movie.
You're gonna get to know something about me, which is that later in life romances and later in life book clubs, cheerleading squads.
Yes.
That is my wheelhouse, baby. I love those movies. I've seen both book club movies in the theater.
Wow.
I saw Palms in the theater with a baby, and she was great for the first half. She did start crying. I had to go stand and bounce her in the back. You know what I mean? It's like, again, I am big into a baby is being inserted into the world. The world does not revolve around the baby.
Yes.
So I would tend to say that a sporting event feels like the kind of place where people are drinking, people are going to scream, people are going to be rowdy and shit, and we cannot change our behavior for babies. That said, it is the stadium policy. I don't like to breathe vape smoke either.
I know. I guess I would more likely, if I had a 4-month-old, just wouldn't want them to be around that much. And maybe I am being sportist right now, but I wouldn't want them to be around a bunch of drunk buffoons. And maybe, again, I have only used to like go to like Mets games in New York because you could get like a $10 seat and I could get drunk in the middle of the day and be like, that's baseball, baby.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that was the only kind of sporting event I've ever really been to. But I would assume that like, I just imagine, I guess, you know what? I think of the Kelsey brothers.
Yeah.
And I just think of them with their drunks and their spittle. I just feel like it goes everywhere. And I just like, I feel like, I know that they're like on the field or whatever, but I feel like people like them are not on the field and they're in the stands.
Yeah. I will say, I also think your husband should chill because my husband does this shit too, where he's like, your reaction's a little over the top. It's like, no, if I'm reacting how I fucking want to react.
Yes.
Yeah. And
that's why I think
because he gets embarrassed sometimes if I pop off at somebody and I'm like, yeah, deal with it. Like this, you know what you married, you know? And like, but I honestly think you made the right choice. Calling security, that to me would have been over the top.
Would have been
they would
too
have gotten
much.
kicked out. It would have been like a whole fucking thing. You would have been kind of a Karen. And instead you just went up to them and you were like, girl, like, I don't know what you said. I wish you had called in because I would have loved to have heard like the little speech that you gave to these girlies.
Because I love that. That's why when I say you're the bitch, I'm saying it only in like a wonderful way.
I love that
of
you're
like,
the
yes.
bitch that just like laid into them. I get that like 4 months old is actually a perfect age for just taking your kid like a little sack of potatoes to events.
Well, you should just be quiet.
If you're a big sporty girl, I'm glad that you're getting your NFL games in because in a few months you cannot bring a kid to an NFL game. They are just fucking running around. They're being assholes. I've never brought my kids to a sporting event in my life.
No, unless they can. You're right. Actually, you are right. This is the age where you get to strap it to you, and then.
And if it's a 1 o'clock game, I get it. But again, like I think you were probably coming at it a little bit as like a new mom, and like, you know, get that away from my kid, and like being protective as a new mom, which I completely respect. But I also feel like, as somebody who used to try to smoke cigarettes at concerts, I mean, I was smoking full cigarettes at stadiums. I remember being at a Britney Spears concert when I was like 22, smoking 21, and there were these like young girls behind me and their mom kept going, where is that coming from? And I was just like crouched down, ripping a parliament because I had to smoke. Like, yeah, we're all assholes and someone does need to tell us that we're not the center of the world.
You're
but,
right.
You know, the baby's not the center of the world either. I don't know. I don't think you did anything super wrong, but you sound like a bitch I'd like to hang out with. How about that?
Yeah, that's it. Maybe, that's another category. Bitch I want to hang out with.
A bitch that's, you can be our bitch.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Come hang with us.
Please.
But yeah, that's all. That we just wanted to end with that cutie little DM. So always feel free if something just comes to you. You don't have to be by your computer or using a phone. Just get on Instagram. We're at Who's the Bee LPN, right?
Oh,
That's our
Who's
Insta.
the Bee LPN because they will not allow you to say the word bitch.
Let you write out bitch.
Just let us say bitch.
I know. But email us, DM us. Leave a voicemail. We can't wait to see you guys We'll see you on our next live stream. We'll have new episodes every Wednesday. Subscribe, do whatever.
Yeah. Get at us. We want to hear from you.
I want
Thank
those
you,
Thanksgiving
guys.
traumas. Give them to us.
Yeah. Oh my God, please. You know, as the Empress of Thanksgiving, I want to talk through everything you feel about the holiday.
The Empress is waiting for your call.
Yes, I'm waiting with a gravy boat to tip you, babies. Thank you so much, Kara. For
Thank
being here
you,
today.
Jackie. Thanks to everybody who called in and everybody who emailed us. We're trying to get through everybody's things. If you have a new problem, email us or call us. And
got an update, email us, call us. We want to hear from you guys. Thank you so much. We're all gonna make it through, guys. We're
all
make it
together. We can do anything.
We can do anything. We love you guys. We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.
When a cold has you down, it's the little comforts that lift you up. A warm blanket, a cup of tea, and a tissue that actually feels good on your skin. Infused with aloe, Kleenex Cooling Plus Aloe provides a hint of cooling freshness to help your skin feel restored. So whether your skin is feeling dry, chafed, or irritated, you're only one wipe away from helping it feel relieved. The next time you have a cold, get a hint of instant cooling relief with new Kleenex Cooling Plus Aloe. For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
Sun's out, snack's out, and My Mochi ice cream is your go-to summer treat. My Mochi's bite-sized beauties are only around 70 calories each. They're packed with cool, creamy ice cream and wrapped with soft, chewy dough. Totally satisfying, perfectly portioned, and ready to cool you down with every delicious bite. My Mochi ice cream fits your summer vibe. Treat yourself smart with a joyfully chill sensation of My Mochi. Look for the purple box of My Mochi at Walmart or visit mymochi.com to find a store near you.